Hello Taurus, welcome to my channel. Thank you for liking, sharing and subscribing. I hope you enjoy these insights, and just bear in mind this is a general reading, so just take what works for you, what's working with you. It may also apply to someone you are close to at this time. If you have strong influences in your birth chart associated with another sign, please feel free to cross-watch for further insights. I have shuffled and laid out the cards, and just to explain, I use the 12 houses of the zodiac, and the cards as they appear in each house, then those are the influences that are coming to bear at this time. So in the first house we have Pisces, I believe. So now the first house is everything to do with the self, your appearance, your personality, your observable characteristics, because this essentially is also what other people see when they see you, how you come across to them, how you are projecting yourself out into the world. It's also your physical body, all self-oriented interests, yeah. So if you other people talk about masks. Well, if you have a mask, then this will be the aspect for you. But if you don't, if you are sort of pretty much what you see is what you get, in any case this effect will be coming in for you. Pisces, I believe, watery sign. You're an earth sign, so this is going to bring up certain aspects for you. With the first house, I do feel that you perhaps need to have a bit of faith in yourself and your guidance that you're receiving, however that comes to you. It's about having trust as well, trust in your path, and trust the direction that you're moving in. It's also about displaying compassion and sort of following your dreams as well. You may be feeling pretty sensitive at the moment. And you may be coming across to others as quite sort of dreamy and sensitive at this time as well. So basically what I think you need to do is also just bring in certain aspects of this sign to sort of clarify and define your boundaries. So you need to clarify and define, because possibly you are mixing with others, or you're bringing other people into your life, or you're moving forward with others. You just need to look at your boundaries and respect them when you're mixing with others, and be discerning in who you bring into your life. So that's a strong sort of influence coming in there. Just firm up, examine where you're going, who you're going with, and just be discerning about that. But also it's very much about, I believe, I have faith in myself and my guidance, and exhibiting compassion amongst others as well. You can be compassionate and sensitive, but still have boundaries, and still be clear about how far you are willing to go with yourself, and also while you're with others. Because if this is very much a physical issue, you may be wanting to sort of do too much, sort of become almost absorbed with others' ideals and others' goals, to sort of almost to blend, and that may not serve you at this time. I mean, typically Taurians are not inclined to be like that, but with this influence you may be feeling like that. Also, this could be on a different tack. This could also be exhibiting your artistic expression, enjoying the arts, and also exhibiting your artistic talents. So this is again showing a side of yourself that may not normally be shown, and it's about sort of exploring that part of your life, and harnessing those lovely qualities, that imaginative quality which Pisces possesses in abundance. Then in your second house, you have the moon. This is soul. So now your second house deals with your money, your income, your money coming in, your actual physical income, your possessions, what you own, and it's also about your self-worth and your values, your value systems. So with this card appearing in there, it's about you may just have to be sort of riding the fluctuations and cycles in your monetary life, or to do with your income. So, it indicates that there are periods, because this is ruled by the moon, which goes through cycles, as you know. So you may just have to be moving with that and follow your gut feelings. Really reach down deep to follow what it is you feel is the right thing to do. So what you need to do in any of those areas is always to say, how do I feel? How do I feel about this? How do I feel about what I must spend my money on, what I'm going to purchase, where I'm going to place that money, how I'm going to use that money best, and also about your values, your value system and your self-worth. Am I earning adequate income for the work that I do? Things like that. So you may also just be experiencing a little bit of a challenge from somebody else, and you're now examining your own sort of inner beliefs about things. The moon also is about habits. So you may have habits that you have been in place for a long time, and you actually need to perhaps change those or rearrange them a little bit. It's almost like it's like what you've done for years. It's a habit. It's a specific way of doing things. It feels safe for you. You may just need to sort of ride the cycles and fluctuations, as I say, because that may not feel safe for you. Also, you can, when it comes to monetary aspects, you can follow the stock exchange. The stock exchange is ruled by the moon. That may be interesting for you to do that. Also, with the moon, something may be obscured or concealed. Something just may not be clear at this time. It doesn't necessarily mean something suspicious. It can be a deception of some kind, but it can also just be that things are not 100% clear, and that makes you a bit uncomfortable. Because Taurians like certainty. They like to have their feet on the ground. So it's almost like you can't get to the truth of something. The path is not necessarily clear. With the moon also, you may be enjoying the wisdom of the feminine. So it could be a female influence around you, or you are tapping into your deeper feminine wisdom. Whether you're a male or female, this applies. And you may also just be feeling a bit nostalgic about your possessions or things that you own, or the wisdom about your values. Perhaps it came from your family, and perhaps you're now looking at something again and thinking, well, no, that actually doesn't suit me. This is how I feel. So it's memories, it's nostalgia. Also, the moon rules crowds of all kinds. So you may be crowdfunding, or you may be following a fad or a fashion or a trend. Just be careful with it, because, as I said, some things can be concealed under the moon's influence. So just you may, just don't. I wouldn't advise that you go and sort of splash out on something which is not 100% clear for you at this time. So perhaps just wait a bit. But it is about fluctuations and going with the cycles that are currently in place at this time. Then in the third house we have Mercury, mind. This is one of three Mercury-related cards in your chart at this time. So clearly the mind and everything to do with that, and everything to do with Mercury, is very much highlighted for you at this time. So now in your third house, this is everything to do with the way you think. And also the way you communicate. The third house is everything to do with communication. So that's written, verbal. It could be your body language. It governs all documents and contracts as well. So you really need to apply your mental faculties, think things through very carefully. And your words are going to be important. So choose your words widely. You need to think things through. You may also need to be quite flexible. You may need to use your imagination. So whether this is in your current work and you're using communication, or whether it's to do with your relationship with your siblings, your aunts and uncles and your cousins, they fall under the third house. It could also be a learning of some kind. Mercury likes to learn, so you may have to learn new things. But you've also maybe asked to be wanting to get your point across clearly. So you need to think clearly about it, perhaps write it down for yourself, so that when you do come to articulate it in some way, that you're covering all the points and that you're saying what you need to say. Beware with docs and contracts. Read everything very carefully. Go over everything with a fine-tooth comb. Just read it through. And if you feel that you need a second opinion, well then, by all means get that. With this card, you may also have to talk into or out of something, because Mercury is all about, as I said, communication. That can be completely verbal as well. So you may just be feeling especially chatty. Just as I said, just think things through, think about what you want to say. It's also about being fairly quick and agile when it comes to grasping concepts, or to getting your point across, or to making decisions about things. Technology may come in as well in the third house. This is, specifically airwaves, anything to do with transmission of information via the air, but it's also just technology in all kinds. That could even just be an upgrade of a cell phone. Also, this covers Mercury, because it's about verbal things as well. You could be hearing gossip, or you could be involved in gossip, so just be very careful with that. And also glibness comes in, being too glib, or sort of, as I said, talking away in and out of something. The third house also covers quick trips. This is local journeys. Ninth house covers international. This one covers local journeys. You may just feel quite restless, and you want to get out. You want to go out and be stimulated, enjoy your various types of fast-moving activities, or social activities, or just interesting places that you would like to visit. And that's really appropriate at this time, because you may just be feeling a bit like you're stuck and you need to get out, you need to go and explore, you need a little bit of adventure in your life. So this will be quick trips. It could be, spontaneous. You may be required to be spontaneous. Don't overthink things. If you feel like going out, just jump in the car and go. Just look at it like that. Also have a look at your vehicle, your car. If you are going to be going on any kind of trip, you're Taurian, so you're going to naturally be methodical and careful. But this is just a reminder with your vehicle as well, to check it over. And this also, your vehicle may come in possibly with a purchase or a change or something like that. And Mercury in there is, as I said, just examine the documents and the contracts as well, and go over everything and be very clear. Don't be careless and overlook something. You really need to apply your mental faculties as well. Then in the fourth house, we have solar eclipse, which is revolution. So this indicates a change of some sort in your home or with your home. So you're either relocating, or you're moving, or it could be the change of people in your home. Something is being changed. It's coming for you. It could be an unexpected upheaval of some sort, which will propel you forward. It's a necessary change. It's necessary to move you into a better position, or to bring about certain things. So you need to stay present, but you need to move or adapt quite swiftly to what comes up. It's something that's needed. It's a change that needs to happen. But it could also have been something that was requiring your attention. It could be something that was sort of brewing or in the background. And now all of a sudden here it is, and it causes a massive upheaval. So it's that kind of quickness that it comes at you. And it could just make you feel really quite uncomfortable. You're going to feel out of your comfort zone. There's a rearrangement of some sort. It could also be that you need to change or fix something in your home. And when you do that, when you actually tackle it yourself, when you take it upon yourself to actually see to it. So, it's something that it could have also been something that you've been evading, something that, you just didn't want to deal with. And now suddenly it comes up and you have to deal with it quickly. But it could just be that you need to take the initiative to change or fix something, because when you do that, it's going to make things much better for you. It's going to, could possibly have really good, sort of the consequences of that could be really good for you. So it's a revolution of some sort. And as I said, it could be quite unexpected, or something that was lurking and you've just never done anything about it, and now here it is. But changes are coming. Then in your fifth house, you have earth element, which is stability. So you should know all about this, the earth element. This is the fifth house is everything to do with your children, or children that you are sort of connecting with. And it's also to do with your own creative abilities or creative projects that you're working on. It could even be an interest or a hobby. And it's also just accessing your creativity in yourself. That's not necessarily artistic. creative, different thing. You can be a creative speaker. You can be creative with finance. There's lots of ways that you can be creative that's not necessarily artistic. So it's about accessing that, and it's also about love affairs. It's the house of love affairs. The fifth house also covers recreation of all kinds. So that can be activities which are just for fun. It could be sports. It could even be gambling. It's any kind of recreational, having fun type of activity. And if sports are indicated, well, that may come up as well, because I do feel it may come up later as well. So now, with this, it could be either you feeling these influences and it's sort of coming across to your children, or you are being required to bring it in to assist your children. So there's different ways that can come in. It could also be, the creativity that you're accessing in relation to your children. So, because kids, when they're going through school, they require quite a bit of input, and it's just, you may just have to be a bit creative about how you do that. So now, if changes are coming in for you in your home, whatever's going on there, you're going to have to perhaps work on the stability for your children. Create a stable environment for them, reassure them that whatever's happening is going to be over soon, and that that everything will settle down, or just be the rock of the household. Be organized, anchor yourself to the ground, be rooted, and even if you're having some sort of transitionary period, it's about bringing in that stable emotional support for the children in your home. It's also, you may have to just draw on a bit of inner strength. Action may be required of some kind. It's also about duty, this card. But it really is, your children may be entering a period in their lives where they are they're having to find those own abilities in themselves. So they've got to find their inner strength. They've got to sort of keep themselves grounded and get themselves organized. They may also have duties that they've got to see to, and you've got to give them some guidance to do with that. Can come in a variety of ways. Also, with the earth element and being a Taurus, you may also possibly you may be unable to change or adapt in some way because of fears, or so you may have to just let go of fears or let go of certain material things which are holding you back. So in order to regroup and to change something or to go with the flow in something, you're going to have to overcome a bit of stubbornness. And simply being unable to adapt to situations that's going on around you at the moment. So you may just have to let go of a few fears, take a bit of action, and let go of some material items which perhaps are just, if you are moving home or you're downscaling or upscaling or whatever you're doing, there are material items which require attention. Sometimes you carry too much, or you carry a lot of things you don't need. Or you may be requiring new items, that can come in a variety of ways. But in all cases, be the rock, be rooted, but also be able to be flexible and to know to create an environment which is conducive for stability and let go of unnecessary things. All right. If it's to do with a love affair with the earth element, it could be a really sensual love affair, very grounded, very earthy, very comforting, very nurturing sort of partnership. But all the same things come in, aim for to bring stability into that partnership, the growth. You may also be making powerful connections in some way, shape or form, whether that's through sports events or activities that you're going to do. I mean, if you want to go and take a gardening course, this is really, really good for you at this time. It's a form of recreation. Get out in the garden. If you're a gardener, enjoy putting your hands in the soil. That's really going to ground you. It's going to give you a lot of insight, connects you to nature. All nature activities are highlighted with this aspect, and especially in your fifth house, because it involves activities, recreational activities, but also sports and so on. So it's about garden work, or just being in nature and enjoying that as well, the interaction with that. And you may also If you are going with your children to activities, you may be making powerful connections, or through a creative project that you're working on. There's lots of ways that can come in for you. Then in the 6th house, we have Grand Cross Provoker. So this card coming in for you in your 6th house. 6th house is everything to do with your work projects, your mastery of your craft, whatever it is that you specialize in. It's also your workplace and your work colleagues. And it's also the house of health and diet and pets. So you can apply this across the board there, however you want to. The Grand Cross Provoker is pretty much that. What it is, it's a catalyst for movement and change. So through sort of difficult circumstances, it forces you into a kind of momentum to actually to make changes if need be, and everything that comes with that. The other side of it is also, because it's all hard angles working almost against each other, it can create an environment of a bit of frustration. Perhaps you're meeting resistance from others, or in your workplace, or with the work that you're currently dealing with. It could be quite a testing time, actually. You may be feeling pulled in different directions, too much going on. You can't actually get anything done because you've got so much happening all at once. It's about growth after difficulty, and then from there comes renewal. Also, watch your communication. Think about how you're communicating. You may feel quite under pressure. Think about how you address others, how you're, sort of conducting yourself with others, how you are approaching your work projects and so on. It also could mean that you may be juggling a variety of talents and abilities that you have, or you could be in a team environment and you're juggling a whole lot of different types of people, and you're trying to move things forward, and it's juggling all of that. So it's either in yourself or in the others that you're working with, or it could be various elements of your work project that you're trying to sort of bring together, and it could be quite exasperating in some ways. But the key with this, card is always to stay present, and to prioritize, to focus, and to be realistic. Those are the sort of main points with this, because you've got so much coming at you. You will have to prioritize. You will have to home in on specific things that you can do right now to move things forward, and have some sort of kind of structure and plan in motion, but always be aware of that. Be realistic about what you can do as well. You may just have an enormous amount being put on you, and now you just kind of feel overwhelmed. And pushing on from that goes into your health and diet. So that will also be taking the overflow of the stress to do with this. So you could just be feeling overwhelmed, a lot of pressure, and you will require sort of, look at your natural remedies, look at different ways that you can, whether it's activities you want to do, as I said, gardening, or sort of having fun activities, or just downtime where you can find a healthy outlet for any kind of pent-up feelings which you're having at this time. So it's about finding a healthy outlet, and so that you can come back to yourself and just work through those difficulties, or that stressful period. And also, it's also about finding healing as well. So you may be sort of interested in various therapies that you can go to, or just enjoy some kind of activity which is a great stress buster for you. So that all comes up for you in your 6th house. Then in the 7th house, we have Gemini, I think. So now the 7th house is linked to your 1st house, because how you are in yourself and how you're projecting outwards is going to affect your relationships as well. With this Gemini, I think the 7th house is everything to do with your personal one-on-one relationships. So this is your love relationship with your significant other, or it could be a very close one-on-one relationship you have with someone else, or it could be a business partnership as well. So it's all about the interaction there. So now with the 7th house, this is and with this card specifically, communication comes up yet again. So it came up before in your communication house with Mercury Gemini is ruled by Mercury, so it's coming up again. So now this could be, it can come in a variety of ways, but basically your communication is like key. Really, that's the most important thing going for you at this time. So whatever you're going through, whatever boundaries you need to put in place, or whatever it is that you want to bring about in your relationships, you're going to have to be very clear about what you're saying, and sort of, even if you have to write it down first before you articulate it, but you do need to speak. You need to talk, and you need to be wise with your words. Don't be glib. Don't be sort of overly gossipy or too much chit chat, because in your relationships, especially with the 7th house, this is a more serious kind of relationship. So your 5th house is your love affair. That's how it starts, and then it progresses to the 7th house, which is much deeper. There's a deeper level of commitment. So it also can be the exchange of ideas. So their ideas, your ideas, and then sort of coming together, making decisions, looking at all the different ideas and coming up with creative sort of plans and options, or even just what you want to do if you want to go out and have fun. You may need to bring in humor as well. Use your wit to actually lighten. You need to lighten the environment in your close personal relationships. Have fun, be versatile. It's about quick thinking as well. You may need to, if you're feeling that way, you may need to alleviate boredom and restlessness, and sort of rise to the occasion, and think of fun things to do. And it could also be to do with these little trips you want to take. Think of fun, light-hearted ways to enjoy your relationship, and to bring in the sort of the versatility of Gemini. It also cultivates spontaneity. As a Taurian, that may not come naturally to you, but you need to bring it in now. This card is also the card for soulmates and twin flames. If you follow any of that, it could also just be, as I said, a really deep connection. But it has that. This brings in that aspect. So it's a very deep, very important connection actually for you. So this person could be coming in, or you're already in a relationship with them. It's not necessarily a love relationship. This, as I said, could be a business partnership or some other person that you're closely connected to at this time, because soulmates can come in all forms. They can come in as a very good friend, or a particular member in your family. There's lots of ways that a soulmate can come in for you. So this card has indicated that may be happening for you, or it could be just that this person is already in your life and you're now taking things to the next level. It's sort of, I would say it's about sort of cultivating a fun, humorous kind of outlook. Cultivate spontaneity, be versatile, and think of nice ideas, and enjoy communicating with this other person, because it's really going to be important for you. Then in the 8th house, we have another Mercury card. This is Mercury retrograde, which is all about reinvention. So now the 8th house follows on actually from the 7th house in many ways. The 8th house is everything about the deeper merging of emotional and material resources between committed partners. So whether that's a love relationship or whether it's a business partnership, it's all about the merging of the two, the joining of the two, at a very deep level. And it's all the, as I said, the material things, but also the emotional resources as well, and all that entails. It's also about, the 8th house also deals with other people's money. It also deals with big finance, like investments, insurance, tax, and accounting, banking, legacies, inheritance. And when you think about it, when you're joining all of those things together in a committed relationship, they all become really important. This house also deals with, it can be sort of, it's a powerhouse. It can be dealing with everything to do with sex, with death and rebirth. So it could also be old things falling away to make way for new things. So it could be old ideas, old ways of thinking, and now you're now going to be moving forward to another level which incorporates the opinions and ideas of another. or others, especially if you're thinking about dealing with other people's money. So it's also, as I said, about it could be just an ego death of some sort, which makes way for a new, higher perspective. So with this card, Mercury retrograde, which is reinvention, this is not a time. This is not a time to be signing contracts or making big purchases, any kind of commitment on that level. It's not a time to be doing that, not now. Because with Mercury retrograde, it appears to be going backwards in the sky. It's an illusion, it's not the truth, but what it does is it forces you to go back over what has already been covered again. So you may want to move forward with certain plans and you want to sort of rush in, which is a kind of a Mercury thing, rush in to go and sort something out. It won't work, basically. It won't work, or some aspect of it will simply just be misunderstood, miscommunicated. Things just go wrong, or there will be delays, and it's a kind of back to the drawing board. That's what this is about. So you may need to take another look at your finances as well. So make use of this period, because this is actually a really, really useful period to go back to the drawing board and come up with a better plan, really, to iron out the kinks or to pick up mistakes that have been made or errors that have kind of crept in somehow. Nobody knows how they arrived, but they did. It's a time to go over everything, to contemplate and to come up with a better plan. Anything with a re in front of it. So that is... it's a sort of repeat, revision, revisit, release, realign. It's everything to do with that, even renew. So, it renewing your love connection with somebody else, but not necessarily marriage, because that involves a contract, all right? So just if you can delay things for a period. Normally, a retrograde period covers about 3 weeks, more or less. This is a general reading for July, so you will see indications of it in other aspects of the eighth house. So it could be that something you say just gets misunderstood, or something that you've written in an email or a text or a WhatsApp or whatever just gets all out of kilter, and now you've got to go back and correct it. What you said, what you did, or just something just doesn't get sent. Emails don't get sent, things like that. Just be careful with signing anything. It's also, you need to back up any tech that's involved in your relationship or to do with your money, any kind of technical, whether it's your computer or your phone, back everything up, and just avoid big money purchases at this time, because there could be a very unpredictable outcome for you, which will then force you back to go and sort something out. The past may also come up for you as well. Something from the past could just appear out of nowhere. Could even be a person. So it's a revision. Just be careful with your paperwork and your documents, and rather, if you can, put off those kinds of big commitments to another time, and then just wait until the energies have shifted, and then you can move forward. But it will just feel like a period where you will then be forced back in some way to go and readdress something again. Then in the ninth house you have Aries, I am. The ninth house is everything to do with international travel. It's also to do with the world. So it's connecting to the world in some way. So that's foreign countries, foreign people, foreign concepts, foreign cultures, anything like that. It could be an import-export situation you're involved in. So it's everything to do with international travel. It's also adventure and exploration, which is right up Aries Street. You may be wanting to do something like that. You may be wanting to go on an adventure or planning something, and you just need to, you really are sort of inspired by something. So that's very good. So if you are, it's all about planning. It's all about taking action, but pushing forward with a plan that perhaps you want to sort of bring about, something that you're looking at. It's also, the ninth house is also to do with higher forms of study. So this is like university education or adult education. It's courses that you want to take to further your particular understanding of things. It's also religion, philosophy, and belief systems. It covers all of that. It's also the house of teaching. and it's also the house of public relations and publishing. So also the house of law as well. So this could come in for you in a lot. As I said, it can cover any one of those areas, or they may be all interconnected in some way. If you're a writer and you're now going to be publishing a book, this is indicated, and connection with the world is indicated. Traveling overseas to do with that item is all indicated. So it could also be a form of study that you want to do, and it involves religion or your belief systems or philosophy or something, some kind of study that you want to do. It's gaining wisdom. You may be teaching others. You may be involved in the law. You may be studying the law. So it all comes about, but basically with the Aries card, it's an indication to push forward. Something's going to come about with pace, or you could be pushing the pace. It's about action, but it's also about discipline. So this is a very no-nonsense card. It's something that you desire to put into action. There's no messing around. It will be clear what you want to do and you want to put it into action. It's the get things done card. The other side of it also could be that you could be involved in sports or some kind of activity out there where you need to travel, or some kind of activity, as I said, which takes you overseas. It's about applying action. It's about also, it may be a test of will for you. You will need to take measured action, not impulsive action. This is the best way to harness the Aries energies, not to be like a scattergun. It's got to be measured. It's got to be disciplined. And also take others into account. If you're in a team situation, take others into account. But always, you will be tested in some way, form. Also, this could be you may have to defend yourself in some way, or you may have to compete in some way for something. But it's all indicated in the 9th house. So it could be an educational sort of a degree that you're involved in. You could be studying, and you've now got to really apply yourself in some way. Or it could be a legal action that you're wanting to take. This covers the higher courts. But it's action oriented. It's about your desires, putting your desires into place, but also always try and go for the discipline and measured response as well. Then in the 10th house, we have Saturn Truth. So 10th house is everything to do with your career, your ambitions. It's also authority figures in your life. And it's also about your public status, your reputation, and your fame. So there are lessons to be learned here. This is about playing by the rules and playing fair. So with Saturn in this house, it can be quite a difficult thing to face. What Saturn is always aiming for is to bring about solid achievement for you. So whatever is not stable in your life, whatever is not built on solid ground, will simply crumble away, and you're going to have to start again. It's also about putting structures and systems in place. So that's everything to do with Saturn is all about structure. It's about building. It's about foundations. It's about solid, steady, slow growth. So, certain aspects of your career may be experiencing this. You could also be either locking horns with an authority figure in your life, or this authority figure could be incredibly helpful, almost like father-like in your life, like a mentor. And this person will bring foundation and steadiness and structure into your life. It's about structure. Or you could be forced to be like that through somebody in your environment who is an authority figure who is going to bring that aspect in for you. So it's a face it card. Face it. Face whatever is going on. Be realistic. You're going to be facing a challenge or two there. You might just be feeling restricted as well. You may be wanting to do so much and you simply can't at the moment. But it's about biding your time as well, because it's not the right time now. This is about building and putting structure in place. The success and the rewards come later. But it's a slow moving energy because you're building. Nothing lasts if it's built quickly. Okay, so it's about you could be also facing a few delays. Don't give up. Just stick to your goals. And it's about gaining wisdom through experience as well. What you're experiencing and any kind of whatever it is that you're going through, it's about gaining wisdom and experience with that, because that's going to be invaluable for you later on in life. You will look back on this period and think, gee, I learned a lot, It's about applying diligence and discipline as well. Then in the 11th house, we have Sun Spirit. So this is a very supportive card to be having in your 11th house. This covers friendships, it covers your networks and your groups, your societies, your associations, the people in those various forms, and it's also about your hopes, your wishes, your personal hobbies and interests. This 11th house also covers social reform and following trends. So with this card, it's a very positive card. This is what it's asking you to do is to bring spirited expression into those areas of your life. So you could be interacting with others in a group. You could be interacting with others, your associates, whether it's an educational thing that you're involved in, or your fellow teachers, or whatever it is that you do in your life. It's about bringing your strength, your warmth, and your dynamic side to the fore in this. It's about showing up, really. It's about showing up. It's also about your vitality, sort of bringing that into what you're doing. You could also be in the limelight. It's about being noticed. So you could be put on the spot to produce something, or to say something in a group setting, or to just show up, as I said, and produce a result of some way. And it's going to get noticed by others. That action is going to bring you some kind of recognition. But it's going to be something that you're going to feel, and you're just going to do because you can do it, and you're going to bring your whole self into it, and that's going to be noticed. Your genuine, authentic self is going to be noticed. It's also about leadership and confidence. You're going to have a fair bit of influence and charisma at this time. So as I said, it could be in any one of those areas in your life. If it's a group setting, or an association, or a society that you're a member of, you could be going on a sports tour, as I said, and now you're having to bring this in. Or it could also be that you have a friendship which is coming in for you, or this person that you are a friend with is displaying these wonderful spirited qualities, and you're just soaking it up, you're enjoying it. They're bringing a lot of strength and dynamic energy into it, or you could be bringing that into your friendships as well. And it's also about interest, being energetic and interested in what it is that you're doing. Okay. Then in the 12th house, we have Black Moon Lilith, which is mystery. So now the 12th house is quite a broad house again. It's basically unconscious, your unconscious, deep unconscious beliefs and your unconscious self. It's also about solitude and reflection. It's about deep understanding of yourself. It's also about your spiritual life, your meditation, your mysticism. It's also about healing. And it's also about finding a resolution, and possibly there could be an ending of some sort. But it's also karmic inheritance if you follow that. And you may just, it's also about seclusion of some kind. But now I feel with this card coming in for you on the 12th house, I think it's about possibly avoid harboring negative feelings. So negative feelings can be all kinds of things. It could be jealousy, it could be envy, it could be revenge, it could be obsession, it could be very deep-seated emotional drivers which are present in you that you perhaps haven't quite understood. But it's about avoid harboring, negative emotions about others, or about your situation, or about what is going on. It's about examining your attitudes and beliefs towards others and towards a situation, because you may be forced to do that in some way or another, and through examining that and looking at your unconscious beliefs and trying to understand yourself a bit better, through that you will find your truth, and you will understand better what is your truth, and it's about standing your ground as well. It's also about not giving up on certain aspects. Certain things are maybe pushing you, and you've got to just keep plodding on with a course of action which you have chosen. Just examine it, your attitude and your beliefs about that, and find your truth as well. You could also be at this time feeling like you've been overlooked or slighted. So if you are feeling slighted in some way, or like that something has occurred in your environment which has kind of it's really annoyed you, kind of sort of made you go look within, and now you're kind of harboring negative feelings about that. Especially I'm thinking to do with your career and your work projects. You could just be feeling like you've just got too much on your plate and that it's not actually fair. So there could be feelings to do with that. It could also, it's about looking at yourself and your attitudes and your beliefs, and just finding a really positive outlet for those negative feelings, a healthy outlet. So whether it's meditation or just spending time in a retreat or in your own space, sort of doing something which is going to help you exercise at a healthy outlet, whether it's, as I said, it's meditation or some kind of deep reflection. It's also you could be feeling quite rebellious at this time about certain things. So all of these things could be sort of hidden. They could be sort of bubbling under in your psyche. And you need to get those out. You need to exercise that, find ways of a healthy outlet, whether it's gardening or doing something which is a reflective activity, some kind of meditative activity. It could be walking, it could be cross-stitch, it could be embroidery, or just something which is a healthy outlet for you, where you can exercise your way, or you can work through those emotions. It's also the it's accessing your deeper hidden emotions about aspects going on in your life at this time. The 12th house also deals with escapism of all kinds. So as a Taurian, you can also be quite elusive sometimes about something if you don't want to make a decision, or you don't actually want to move forward on something because you're not happy about an aspect, or you just don't feel that it's the right thing to do. So don't slip into some form of escapism to avoid dealing with issues. You do need to deal with them still as well. So as I said, it's examine your attitudes, your beliefs, and your truth. Find that, and then work through that. And sort of, it's don't let things fester. All right, get it out in the open, deal with it, and move on. Okay, Taurus, hope you enjoyed that. Have a wonderful month, and I will see you next time.